Hey guys, Nancy here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for joining me while we review some reserve list cards. And please like and subscribe, it really helps grow the channel. Let's begin. Okay, so let's start with Aberrath. So Aberrath is 4 colorless, 2 green, summon Aberrath. Interesting. Cumulative upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on Aberrath. Weatherlight. Oh man, that is actually quite interesting. I can already see that he is starting to spike, but on TCG he's 48 cents. This card is actually not that bad. It's 6 mana for a 9 now, 9/9 that you can slowly put -1/-1 counters on. And there are some decks that can actually put to use -1/-1 counters on your creature anyways. So I actually think this is pretty cool. It's a pretty powerful card. It obviously gets weaker over time, but in Commander, that's always going to be fun anyways. So yeah, got nothing wrong with it. It's an elemental. Might be pretty cool in an elemental themed deck. Yeah, pretty cool. Moving on to Acidic Dagger. So Acidic Dagger is Mirage. It's a 4 mana artifact. Pay 4, tap, destroy any non-wall creature receiving combat damage from target creature this turn. If targeted creature leaves play, bury Acidic Dagger. Use this ability only before defense is chosen. Oh boy, okay. That is a really tricky, specific time to pay 4 mana and then tap this. Pretty much, it's the same. It's pretty much giving a creature death touch for 4 mana and tapping it. But then the problem is, if that creature dies, the dagger goes away with it. So I guess the idea is that you bury the dagger into it, and then you don't pick up the dagger. 4 mana, that's kind of a waste. So you pretty much pay 8 mana altogether to get this effect to destroy one creature after it's dealt damage. Terrible card. Terrible. You guys can tell me where this is going to be useful. But it is 25 cents on TCG, and I feel like this set has been printed enough that this is probably not going to spike anytime soon. Wait, what was I thinking? Of course, I was thinking wrong. I was thinking before 2020. Never mind. It has actually started spiking since the end of last year. When I say spiking, it went from 50 to 69 cents, but that's obviously on the marketplace. You can find it for 25 cents on TCG. I assume that's a heavily played copy. But, you know, that is a decent jump if you're looking for a near mint. I guess it's gone up by almost 30% in the last couple of days. It had to be moving huge volume to make any difference, but moving on. Alopile. Eolopile. Fallen Empires. I don't know who words these anymore. This has already got a very interesting price, but let me just read it out. It's 2 colorless artifact. It's from Fallen Empires. Pay 1, tap, sacrifice Alopile to have it deal 2 damage to any target. This is actually not that bad. I mean, it's a more expensive way to shock a creature, but it's a reusable artifact that you can put in an artifact themed deck and keep bringing it back. It spiked to almost $8 on the average marketplace at some time in July 2018. I think that was the craze. I remember Alpha Investments talking about that. There was a craze during July or around about 2018, and then the market dropped heavily after that. So it looks like the market's picking up again, but it surprisingly has not even caught up to the previous high. That'll probably be heavy selling once it gets to that high, but we'll have to see. Anyways, interesting card. I think it's okay for what it does, but 86 cents. I just don't think that it's going to be useful in that many decks, and plus, I've been told that there are many sets in the many sets that have different values in reserved. So there's no reason for something like this, which might have thousands of more or hundreds of thousands of more copies. Continuing on, Aphia Grove. Aphia Grove is 1 colorless, 1 green enchantment from Mirage. Aphia Grove comes into play with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. During the upkeep, put 1 of those counters on target creature. If Aphia Grove has none of these counters on it, bury it. Interesting card. I actually have a +1/+1 counters matters deck, which means that a card like this wouldn't be the best in it, but you can always keep it going by just adding more +1/+1 cards on it. You have Atraxa, you have a couple more proliferate cards out. This just gets incremental value over time, then you can move it around. And sometimes adding +1/+1 counters to a creature can double it or triple it, so it's kind of like a bank. I like this card. It actually might work pretty well in an Atraxa deck. Very interesting. Yeah, I actually don't see any real problems with it. It's 2 mana for a 3/3 pretty much, but you can't use it to block or attack. It powers up other creatures. It's only useful in a +1/+1- deck. So we'll have to see how that is. But it's something I'm willing to try out in the future. Moving on, Amulet of Koz. Ice Age, interesting. Amulet of Koz is 6 mana, and I'm going to go to the new tab, card, because I cannot read any of that. It is remove Amulet of Koz from your deck before playing it if you're not playing from ante. I think that's a certain kind of... Oh, it's banned in Commander anyway, so okay, that's something to remember. I'm going to continue reading it because it still seems like a very interesting card. Tap, sacrifice Amulet of Koz. Target opponent may add the top card of his or her library to the ante. If he or she doesn't, you flip coin. If you win the flip, that player loses the game. If you lose the flip, you lose the game. Activate this ability only during upkeep. Is this keepsies? Is this like a bunch of kids saying, "Hey, I played this card. If you don't give me that card when I win this game, you lose the game or you're shamed?" I don't know. That feels really weird. I can't. I mean, I don't know what anti means, but I'm assuming that it means that you play for keeps, and that seems risky. That's very risky. I remember Pokemon having lots of trouble when I was in high school, primary school. So we'll have to see how that goes. But it's banned in every format, so probably not something that you would be looking forward to, anyways. And it's from Ice Age. Moving on, Amulet of Unmaking. I like the art. In fact, this is probably one of the interesting ones. Okay. The art is old school and everything, but I like it, and I like the Aladdin-like feel that it kind of gives off. It's from Mirage. It's 5 mana. It's an artifact. Pay 5, tap, remove Amulet of Unmaking from the game. Remove target artifact, creature, or land from the game. Play this ability as a sorcery. It's not bad. It's pretty bad, but the thing is, you remove a creature, it's immune to, if it's immune to damage or indestructible, you pretty much exile it, but then you have to get rid of this, so you don't really get to reuse it. It's 10 mana altogether. It's 5 of 5. It's pretty bad. I can't imagine any good uses for it. I like the art. It's 28 cents on TCG. You know, you pick it up for nothing more than the fact that it's a bit of a cool piece. That's about it. Next, Ashnod's Silix. Ashnod Silix is a 2 mana artifact. It is pay 3, tap, target player looks at the top 3 cards of his or her library, puts one of them back on the top of his library, then exiles the rest. Not bad. Remove the 2 from the game. Not bad at all. I mean, there are certain decks where digging 3 from your library for 3 mana is not bad. Interesting. Yeah, okay. It's no Sensei's Divining Top, but no one wants that many Sensei's Divining Top in the first place, and Sensei's Divining Top is pretty broken. This one feels like a far more fixed version of Sensei's Top, and I actually think it's pretty cool. There are certain decks that you could probably put this to use in, especially decks that don't really care too much about their deck, but far more importantly, about what's on the top of their deck. So, yeah, cards that actually care about the top. Miracle, and, playing instant speed cards from the top of your deck. This is actually really cool. Yeah, I like it. Nah, that one. Okay, moving on to Aysen's Crusader. I like the art. It is a 2 colors, 2 white. Summon Crusader. Interesting. So, wait a second. Its creature type is Human Knight? Oh, nice. I actually have a Knight's deck that absolutely sucks. So that'll be great to add this kind of card in. Make the fact that it sucks a bit more exquisite. Aysen's Crusader. Power and toughness are equal to 2 plus the number of soldiers and warriors you control. The second it said that, it kind of ruined it. It doesn't really help being a nightstick, does it? I like the fact that warriors are now becoming a thing and soldiers have always been a thing. It's an interesting piece of art. It's 45 cents. It looks pretty cool. It's from Homelands, which probably isn't a good thing, but I think it's pretty cool. It is slightly spiking right now, but nothing too crazy. Interesting card. Moving on. Baki's Curse. Baki's Curse is 2 colorless, 2 blue, and it is a sorcery. Baki's Curse deals 2 damage to each creature for each aura attached to that creature. That sounds like a pretty bad card. Very specific. Doesn't help in most commander situations because most people have learned not to put too many auras in any one creature. And even if it is an aura themed deck, they kind of avoid that to begin with. But yeah, I probably don't have much to say about that. The art is not really working either, so I'm probably going to say that this is probably one that I would miss. Okay, this one spiking. Belduvian Hydra, Ice Age. Belduvian Hydra is 1x, 2 red. Interesting. It's a Hydra. Belduvian Hydra enters the battlefield with +1, x +1 counters on it. Remove a +1/+0 counter from Belduvian Hydra. Prevent the next 1 damage that will be dealt to it this turn. Pay 3, put a +1/+0 counter on the Hydra. Activate this ability only during upkeep. Art looks cool. Terrible card. The art makes it look far more intimidating than it really is. This creature would most of the time be hard enough to make it into a 3/1, 4/1, and every time it swings in, you have to remove a counter to remove the damage. I like the idea behind it, but the problem is, this might only... How would that work? So +1/+0 counter is a completely separate counter to a +1/+1 counter, right? Someone might need to update me on how the counter system works. But if I have +1/+1 counter on it, can I just switch that over for a +0/+1 counter and give it the defense that I'm going to be subtracting from its attack? Sorry if that sounded confusing, but I'm just not too sure how this would work in anything other than a very specific +1/+0 counter deck. And that's messy. The good thing is you can play it on a counter deck, which allows you to proliferate this and everything, but most of those don't have red in them. So tricky card. I don't think it's that good, but its price reflects it most likely, 30 cents. Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Anyways, guys, thanks again for joining me, and hopefully we can continue growing this channel. I really want to get into some other stuff, but this is a groove that I'm getting into, and hopefully you can find it interesting. Thanks again, and see you next time.